I think we are starting to educate ourselves and learn how to fail and know that that's not the end of the line. It's just this, this issue of grit and getting back up and trying it again.
We as designers have a calling to actually address. We have some very big problems in our world. And as designers, we can sit back and let the opportunity of crisis pass us by, or we can suit up, boot up, and actually get to the business of solving these problems.
Hi there, I'm Katherine Given, Senior Style and Market Editor at Luxe Interiors and Design Magazine. I am so proud to say Luxe is celebrating Black History Month, and we're showcasing some amazing Black artisans and makers. So thank you so much for tuning into Design TV, where today I'm chatting with Nana Quay-Grain, the founder and CEO of 54 Kibo, which is an online platform that shares and sells contemporary African design, making handcrafted pieces by talented artisans available globally. Hi, Nana.
Hi, Catherine. Hi. Thank you for the opportunity. This is great.
Thank you so much. So I know that, 54 Kibo does so much more than what I just mentioned, but before we dive into chatting, I'd love to give our viewers just a brief background on you. So you were born in Ghana and raised in South Africa.
Yes.
Before moving to the US to attend Harvard Business School and eventually starting, 54 Kibo. But you've had such a broad range of careers, from metallurgical engineering and strategy consulting in South Africa and Botswana to investment banking at Goldman Sachs in New York and managing an infrastructure fund on behalf of South Africa's public pension fund. So clearly, Nana, you've had, a lot of varied career and life experiences. So, what led you to start 54 Kibo?
Thank you again. I think there's always the sort of commercial part of the brain, right? And they're looking for the opportunity and the mission part of the brain. And there's always the personal side.
Certainly.
On the commercial side, it just seems to be sitting there, as I was doing my work, going to all the countries in Africa looking for investment opportunities, which are really focused on infrastructure, transportation, telecommunications. I also notice you also see the design around you, right? People come into your offices and they dress a certain way. You go into office buildings, you see the furniture. And so it was just pretty clear that there are these talented designers in Africa that are making beautiful pieces. But every time I would land in New York, I really wouldn't see them. There wasn't one single place that curated it all. You really have to work hard, go to like 10 stores to find what you need. And so that was it. These talented designers, they're in Africa, but they don't have access to the US market. So let's build it. That was the commercial side of my brain. The personal side of it is around that time also, I had my twins. It's actually their birthday today, if you can believe it.
Oh,
yeah, so they just turned 4. They were born in Ghana. You have a naming ceremony for them. So my parents came down to Brooklyn, and as we were just the festivities of the day, everything, all our friends coming, and just there was such joy that day that I wanted to bottle it up for them, both for them and to share with the world, and so. As I looked at them and I look at these blank slates that I've brought into the world, and I wanted them to have a connection to Africa, to learn about Africa.
So Nana, tell us just a little bit, just to backtrack for a second,
Yes.
sort of about the mission, sort of the model and how it works, how you work with sort of these very talented artisans.
Yeah. The mission really, it's share contemporary African design. There are 1 billion people, 1.2 billion people in Africa, and 200 million in the diaspora, and they making things. And as I sit in New York, I'm like, someone in New York is not getting access to the creativity of 1.2 billion people. That seems, seems like there's something huge missing there.
Missing, you're right.
And so it was really, we started by finding the designers, really starting to curate the pieces. We launched November 2018. I started researching around October. By November 2018, we launched the business. So we're 2 years into it now. We decided pretty early that we're only going to be online because we really wanted to test the market and understand maybe there was something that we're missing. Maybe people weren't interested in this stuff. So online was the best way to really get the data as quickly as possible. We focus on, it's everything for the home. So lighting, wall art, tabletop furniture. It's really whatever you need to decorate your home, right? And so, yeah. I feel like go ahead. Mm-hmm.
You work with so many amazing artisans.
Yeah.
For our viewers, you have to check out this platform. It's so inspiring. But I do just want to shift gears for a second. And,
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned several techniques in African design that many of, the artists that you work with focus on, including woodworking, weaving, goldsmithing, very technical, and detailed, forms of art. So I just, can you share a little bit about some of the makers at 54 Cubo who are working with these techniques?
Mm-hmm. I thought the one thing, I get that question a lot. And as I think about it, also to just even educate myself, the one thing is that African design, these techniques are just global design techniques, right? The goldsmithing, the metalworking, the woodworking, that's all that's just global design. And so the question then is, how is African design different? And so the specific techniques within woodworking, the specific techniques within weaving, the specific technique within goldsmithing, and the meaning behind the products that are made, or the cultural moments that drive the creator, the artist to create that piece in that time is really what distinguishes it. At least that's some of the insights that I'm getting so far. And so when you look at textile weaving, that's probably the one of the pillars that I look into really deeply. Is it's not something that's happened in the 1900s. Ethiopia started growing cotton in the 1st century. The 11th century, you had the strip textile weaving in Ghana and Ivory Coast, all along the west coast of Africa. The indigo dyeing pits in Nigeria, been there forever, and they're still there now. We see a lot of indigo dyed cloths in the US now, but it's centuries old. And so we use that to guide us, but it's not really, we're not trying to look at history and just be like, oh, that's so great. It's what are the creators using now to make the stuff that's exciting today? It's interesting. I guess every region. So, when I think about the textile, probably one of the pieces or weaving specifically, that the modern gesture pendant lighting, for example, that's probably one of our top sellers. And when I hear people talk about it, they just haven't seen a shape like that. They haven't seen the shape with the weaving like that. And yet I saw that piece and I was like, that has to be South African. When I saw it first online, I was like, that has to be South African.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's I could see the Ndebele, rings in it. And so when I spoke to the maker, the designer, and she was like, this is what inspired us, I just thought we needed to have this piece. Woodworking with Tekura in Ghana, it's a family-owned business. The mother and father started it. The twin daughters are actually now running the business.
Oh, I love that.
and they, they take reclaimed wood from Ghana's the forest in Accra and so on. I've actually been to the operations, and you see, everything laid out, the man working, sanding it down, making sure it's painted, correctly, all the assessment that goes into it. And it actually, that's probably the one. It's so difficult to describe a piece, right? You see the drum shape of the table,
Yeah.
but let me read you this. You can decide to include it or not, but this is probably my favorite review ever this was also from a man, which is not typical for our customer base, and he wrote this review. He got that table and he's like, I love this side table. It's high quality, which is why I spent this much on the side table. It's one of those tables which isn't just a table, but also an art piece. It's also beautiful. I love to run my hands over it, feel its smoothness, the strength of the wood, the smell, the scent of freshly cut timber. I couldn't believe I could still smell it, considering that it's obviously been cut and treated and shaped into a table and transported across multiple geographical boundaries. But yep, I can smell the fresh timber. I look at this table from across the room in the same way I love looking at beautiful art. Its very existence in my space brings me a small sense of joy and beauty. And yes, it's functional, sturdy, no wobbling.
What a review.
Yeah, I had like 1 a.m. one day was, it's just one of those days when you need a little push, and it came through. I was like, okay, let's keep going. Yeah.
Oh, I love hearing that. And then goldsmithing. I'm such a fan of Lisa Hunt's artwork, but I know you have a few artisans that also work with this.
Yeah, so we've got Fatili in Senegal, who works with ceramics, and uses gold as the accent on her ceramic plates. And really the significance of it, part of the reason I also like to connect Lisa and Fatih in my head is that gold is so important, especially in West Africa. If you look at Ghana, it was the Gold Coast, right? It was the world's top producer of gold at one point, still a significant producer. You needed to own a gold piece. I actually brought, this is from my grandmother. These are pieces that you would just get as part of you'd be given. And, and I guess growing up, I actually didn't appreciate it as much because it's just a piece. But of course, now as I'm also understanding that a lot of, there's the heritage that comes into it, the stories, the design, why it has to be this shape, what you use it for. And so that's what Fatih is transferring into her ceramic plates. But then I had that same story as I was speaking to Lisa and I understand why she uses gold in her motifs. Her grandmother wearing the gold bangles in the Caribbean, she would hear, feel the jingles of the bangles, and even in the US, as she thinks about memories, it's really embedded. So that's a theme that we try to carry through. And the other part, which is sort of a theme that carries across, is actually the sustainability piece. Everything, and I guess the world is still trying to figure out, what is sustainability? There's so many definitions and so on. Broadly, there are three themes, right? You have to think about the economic part, which is very easy for us in the US. All businesses have to be profitable. Yes. You think about the environment is the second pillar, and you think about the community, the social piece. Those three anchors are the anchors of sustainability. And so thinking about the impact on, are you paying your workers well? Is it an ethical business? Is it something that's, are you using, locally sourced materials? Are you flat packing your items so that when you shipping them across all these oceans to bring them here? So there's that element I find when I speak to artisans and makers and designers in Nigeria, or I speak to them in South Africa, or someone in Malawi or Zimbabwe, it's the same, they get it, and so something that we also want to, keep highlighting and keep showcasing, especially since it's in line with broader design themes right now.
Yeah, I hear you. That is such an important part now of design or just of a business in general, right? Sustainability and that aspect. So Nana, can you tell us what's next for 54 Kibo?
Well, I guess what's next really is, I guess when I think about the milestones, one of the things we've created is the Wikipedia for African design. What's next is we've got a new collection.
Thank you so much, for sharing these very talented artisans with us, and they're really such truly beautiful works of art that they're creating. And as you mentioned, they're rooted in history, they're rooted in craftsmanship, and I'm so impressed by all that you're doing to sort of preserve African design and sort of bring it forward. So thank you for that, and thank you for being here today and talking a little bit more about 54 Kibo. It was a great discussion, and to our viewers, stay tuned for what's next on Design TV, and see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much.